Today we are joined by a man whose family has been involved for 3 generations and has been at the epicenter of progressive politics in the province of the Northwest Frontier. Asfandyar Wali Khan, thank you for speaking to us at Dawn News.
Thank you for giving me the chance.
No, the chance is yours, sir. Let's begin with the obvious question. Is the manifesto of the ANP still relevant in the current atmosphere and the current politics of the Northwest?
Not only the Northwest, I would not confine myself to the Northwest only. And I will not confine myself to Pakistan only. I think for the whole region, the manifesto, because what is the manifesto? Our elders talked of non-violence when people did not know what non-violence was. Our people talked of tolerance when no one knew what tolerance was. So I feel that the politics of Bachar and the Khuday Khidmatgars is more relevant today in the current prevailing political situation in the region than it was then, in the early 40s. Yes, because for Bachar, non-violence was not, and this I say, and without any fear of contradiction, for Bachar, non-violence was not an instrument of fighting the British for independence, no. For Bachar, non-violence was a creed. His Khuday Khidmatgars believed in non-violence, and that manifesto, I think today, is the manifesto of the whole world. People who accused him of being enemies of Islam and of being enemies of Pakistan and all, today everyone is preaching the same thing that Bachar preached then. I tell everyone, our bad luck, that we got a leadership who could see 40, 50 years ahead of time. So they used to say things which were not, which other people could not see. And therefore they would be accused, they would be put in prison, whereas later on people would say the same things and take credit for it. That is where we stand today.
Yet, despite that, despite the creed of non-violence, despite what the precedents that Bachar Khan said, that Abdul Ghaffar Khan said, stated, today you find yourself in a predicament where the entire province of the frontier, where your party has performed historically well, one might say, especially in 2002, turned to the other side, turned towards the MMA, so much so that the Awami National Party got only 8 of the total assembly seats that were available, even less than Sherpa's group, the Pakistan People's Party.
Yes, I accept that. We stumbled, accepted. But you have to look at the ground conditions then, the ground condition in which we were going in for those elections. The example that you gave me, he won those seats because he got into an alliance with the MMA. I refused to go in for an alliance with the MMA. I did not. Because I felt that the religious extremism is the biggest danger, not only to the Pashtuns, particularly to the Pashtuns, but in general to the whole region. And then I think by now everyone accepts the fact that 2002 was not an election, it was a selection to a very large extent.
Yet you are quoted as saying, just before the elections in 2002, that the numbers game does not apply to the NWFP. At most, the rulers will want some candidates to succeed, and those will not exceed between 10 and 12. Were you extremely right, or were you extremely wrong in your assessment then?
No, I was extremely right. It proved. Wasn't it proved after the
MMA
election?
was part of the establishment and it did come to power? Or was it not part of the establishment?
I'll put it to you in another way. If the liberal democratic forces of Pakistan had got a majority in the last parliament, would the 17th Amendment have been passed? Would indemnity to Pervez Musharraf be the indemnity that was given to him? At least in retrospect, you can see the whole game unfolding stage by stage, act by act. As you say, I said it openly. I said even I will not win my seat. On the day of elections at 11 o'clock, the PTV interviewed me. They did not telecast that interview. But I told them at 11 a.m., I said, no one but the MMA is going to succeed. That is the decision that was taken. Just as you quoted me, I said it right before the elections. In spite of that, when the elections took place, yes, I, as president of the ANP, I accepted responsibility and I resigned.
Yet 5 years later, you find yourself in an alliance in an all-parties democratic movement which is taking a stand against President Musharraf, which is deciding as a principled stand to boycott the general elections under President Musharraf, who has just recently been re-elected, and you go against that principled stand and decide to contest the upcoming elections.
I never advocated boycott. Let me make that one point very clear. And the decision to boycott is not a decision of the APDM. It's the decision of three component parties of the APDM, not the APDM as a whole. Because I sincerely feel, if you look back on Pakistan, the history of Pakistan, when have elections ever been held when there's not been any emergency or PCO? We claim that the 70 elections were the most fair and free elections. But if I ask you, was this country not under emergency then? You know, we've always said, the strong make the rules of the game. People in power, they'll decide what the rules of the game are. You have two options. Either you say, all right, I fight you, whatever rules you make, and I'll stand there and I'll oppose you. Or you say, I quit. I am not one who will ever say I quit. I will not back off. No, whatever rules they make, I'll fight. I feel 2002 morally was a better chance for the opposition to boycott. After the 17th Amendment, I think the constitutional position in Pakistan changed. And I'm proud to say I was not a part of the 17th Amendment. Now, people who legalized him constitutionally, today they ask me to go in for a boycott. Why? Why should I go in for a boycott?
Fight them at their rules.
Yes.
Rather fight and lose at their rules and
yes, but
then not fight at all.
Not leave the field open. You know, there are two ways. You lose a game or you concede a game. Do I make myself clear? I don't want to concede. I will not throw in the towel. I'll fight. Whatever rules they want to make, that's up to them.
What do you foresee in elections under emergency and in such a fractured atmosphere? Can they succeed?
I think it will depend to a very, very large extent on what happens after the elections take place. Because the problems that we're faced with, they need very, very strong political wills to solve. And more importantly, people with political courage in them. Because the status quo has brought us where we are today, which proves the fact that status quos have not been able to deliver. And to change status quos, that is where you need political will and political courage. If the leadership, the political leadership that emerges after the elections, you can't predict who will emerge, but if they emerge after the elections, that political leadership, if that has the political will and the political courage, yes, I think they will last. I feel the coming elections to be very, very crucial for Pakistan. I've been saying it before. People regard these as elections. I regard them as a make or break position for Pakistan. We either succeed or we go into another anarchy, another Bosnia-Herzegovina. It's very clear.
Was the will there in 1990 when you got into an alliance with IJI? Was the political will there?
I think, it would be better for you to hold me responsible for decisions that have been taken when I've taken over the party as the president, because I would not want to discuss the policies of my predecessors, people who headed the party before me, because I may have certain reservations and I may not have certain reservations, but I would not want to discuss my predecessors.
But you can discuss your party and its policies during the 90s, especially
Yes.
when you got into alliance with the Pakistan People's.
One thing I don't understand. You people, and by you I mean the press and the media, if you go into the mainstream, it irks you and you get worked up and you start saying, why do you have to go into the mainstream? If we don't go into the mainstream and we remain marginalized, again you get worked up and you're... so tell me, what do I do? We went in for that alliance with one thing clear in our minds. We thought, rightly, wrongly, that's a different matter. What time proved is a different matter. But we thought that only a popularly elected Punjabi leadership could solve the problems that Pakistan faced.
Going back to the past 5 years, especially as far as the frontier is concerned, a lot of changes, a lot of developments, a lot of discontent among the people with 5 years of MMA rule. Where did the ANP go wrong? Do you blame the ANP for not being able to convince the people enough for making a different choice than the one that they did 5 years ago?
No, look, I thought we had closed that chapter of the elections of 5 years ago.
But it is still a very relevant subject, though. It is a subject which you can...
No, I feel today is a different atmosphere. Today, I feel the establishment is not backing the MMA the way it was backing it in 2002. That's sort of, we've always said, we don't want any backing, but give us a level playing field. The Pashtuns, I think, if you sit down with your own friends, they'll explain it to you. The Pashtuns are very liberal. We are not conservative. Go out into these fields and you'll say females working together with males in the fields. Our problem is that we've been, during the last 5-6 years, we've been presented to the world as fanatics, as extremists, as terrorists. We are not fanatics, we are not extremists, we are not terrorists. Yes, I'm proud of the fact that we are Muslims. But I'm not a terrorist. I'm not an extremist.
Yet all the incidents of violence, and I'm not saying that it is because it's the nature of Pashtuns to embrace people, outsiders, which actually use them inadvertently to...
Look, who brought those outsiders in the first instance? When you went in for a jihad in Afghanistan, we were screaming that it's not a jihad, it's a fasad.
When we went in?
Yeah, by you I mean the establishment. It was the same Western powers, they were there, we were not there. We preached non-violence then, and we preach non-violence today. Even today, there are 72 FM stations operating in FATA. Number 2 is the logistical backup that was given to the extreme element in the last 7 or 8 years. With just a political entity, I think I deserve a pat on the back instead of criticism that I'm still in the field after this period and fighting them politically.
What is the eventuality of all of this? What is the eventuality of violence in FATA, of violence in Bachar, of violence in the settled areas, and now violence in a district, an internal district of the frontier, Swat?
8th January, these Pashtuns have to give a message to the whole world. Do they stand for peace? Do they stand for non-violence? Do they stand for love? I've said it very categorically. For God's sake, my children don't need a gun. Don't give a gun to my children. give them a book. Don't give me bullets, give me a pen. And don't give me a suicide bomber's jacket. Give my children a uniform for their school. Inshallah, that is the message that you will get from the Pashtuns this time. Yes, we stumbled. The Pashtuns made a mistake in 2002, but you have to accept they paid a very, very dear price for that mistake. We've paid very dearly for that mistake. It was a once-time mistake, it will not be made again.
Yet at the same time, you say the Pashtuns, even if they give that message, will it be received at the other end? Is the establishment ready to give the Pashtuns their voice, if
Look, the
count their votes?
establishment can only operate in the space that I give them to operate in, and vice versa. I can only operate in the space that the establishment gives me. I think it is in everyone's interest that they receive this message, because it is not only in the interest of the Pashtuns. If you think that whatever is happening today in Swat will not happen later across the Indus, let me correct you. It was happening in Afghanistan. From Afghanistan, it came on to FATA. From FATA, it came on to the settled districts of the, what I call, out of love I call Pukhtunkhwa, you call it the NWFP. But if you think that the Indus will be able to control this flow of violence, I'm sorry, no. It is in everyone's interest that this thing is controlled. And the only way you can control it is by sending out a message of peace, of love, and of understanding.
Is Pakhtunkhwa, if we are to take, every province needs its own name. Is Pakhtunkhwa part of Pakistan?
Of course it is a part of Pakistan. Look, you three provinces, the other three provinces have names. Punjab is a name, Sindh is a name, Baluchistan is a name. The Northwest Frontier Province is a geographic location. It's not a name. And I've been begging you, for God's sake, take away this geographic location, give me a name. Now,
don't worry, I'm from Karachi. We have more Pakhtuns there than you think.
I know. No, but it's you know, when I use the word you, I don't mean you personally. It is a part of history and normalcy is people who say take our name out of the map of the country. They're deemed as traitors. Here, if you show the map of Pakistan to any foreigner, he'll see their Punjabis living here, he'll see their Sindhis living here, he'll see their Baloch living here. But looking at the map, he does not know that there are Pashtuns residing in Pakistan. I tell you, give me a name where they know that there are also Pashtuns living in Pakistan. I'm dubbed a traitor. Now, how the hell do you justify it?
No, but even
all right, don't give me Pakhtunkhwa.
But on that,
don't give me Pakhtunkhwa if that is my choice. Chaudhry Rahmat Ali was your hero. He came of Pakistan. What does A stand for in Pakistan? Can you tell me?
Afghan.
Afghania? Come on, have the courage, give me that name.
You have it.
That isn't mine.
It's on your
that
NICs.
isn't my proposal.
It's on the NIC of every Pakhtun standing here. An Afghan, by birth.
Nee, but why not give me a name for the province as Afghania? Because that is what he said. He said P for the Punjab and A for Afghania.
Let me ask you this, very honestly.
Yep.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Are there more pressing issues in Pakhtunkhwa, in the Northwest Frontier Province, than the change of a name?
When you were born, weren't there other pressing issues for your parents than to give you a name?
Well, they could have named me, XYZ, and I would have been happy with that.
So you were given a name in spite of all pressing issues that your parents had.
But giving me an education is more important.
That came after you had your name, Major.
I still think that education, poverty alleviation, employment is a more pressing issue.
I know, but those came after you got your identity. Or did you go to school, did you get a job, and after that your father and mother sat down and they gave you a name? These things, why are we insisting on a name? Why give me a message that you do not want me to be a part of Pakistan? By refusing to give me my identity, you are pushing me out. Make me a part. Give me the sense of participation in the party politics of the body politics of Pakistan.
But you have
It's
been
just
involved.
that.
You have been involved in the body politics of Pakistan.
Just that. Yes, as a person I am. The Northwest Frontier Province was a name that was given to me by the British. Why do you inherit the British legacy?
Oh, we were ruled by the British. You don't do as the
Yeah.
master does.
So if you could change, how many names have you changed? Lalpur, what is it today? Faisalabad. Montgomery, you changed, it became Saiwal. Lawrencepur has just been changed. Attic has been changed. If you could change those countries and Pakistan did not disintegrate, why should Pakistan disintegrate if you give me my name?
Another important issue, moving on from the name, is resource allocation.
Yes.
Resource allocation is an issue which everyone in the country, regardless of being in the establishment or being outside of it, accepts that certainly the NWFP does not get the share that it gives out as far as taxes are concerned. As far as resources are concerned, it produces gas, it produces electricity, yet it does not get the proper share that it deserves. Now, the ANP was in power indirectly most of the time, especially during the 90s. Why was this issue not resolved? What were the hurdles that the ANP was facing?
The hurdles were the powers to be. That is why we then resigned and parted ways. Because everyone accepts the fact, at least rhetorically. In rhetoric, everyone gets up and says, provincial autonomy is not enough and you've got to sit down. And this is an issue that we've got to solve. Now, we were very happy when the last government, if you remember, Chaudhry Shujat Hussain as Prime Minister of Pakistan got up on the floor of the Senate and he constituted a committee. Everyone welcomed it. It's a part of the Senate record, you can go and check it. I was the only person who got up and I said, Chaudhry Sahab, although I welcome the decision that you've taken, but whenever in Pakistan a problem has been given to a committee, it has never ever been solved. So I hope this committee will not end as previous committees have. Every political party sat down, it came up with its proposals of provincial autonomy. And we handed them over to Wasim Sajjad Sahab, who was the chairman of the second committee, the one who had to deal with provincial autonomy. And then I told him, I said, Wasim Sahab, can you give us your proposals? The PML proposals. He said, yes, in the next meeting we will give you. And next meeting came and he made a very, very long, lengthy speech. We've decided to cut down on the concurrent list and there's 16 articles from the concurrent list, 16 items that have been deleted from the concurrent list, they've been given to the provinces. I was very pleasantly surprised. I said, well, for once at least, there's something positive coming. And I told him, I said, sir, what are the items that have been deleted from the concurrent list and given to the provinces? And I was literally shocked. When he turned on, he said, stamp paper, adoption, divorces. I said, sir, I didn't even know that these are a part of the concurrent list. I said, what I'm talking of in a concurrent list is agriculture, education, health, and local bodies. Rhetoric, yes. Coming down to when you sit down and you decide to discuss the brass tacks.
As far as Swabi is concerned, you are an outsider. Your contender for NA12 calls you an outsider, Mr. Taraki, I'm mentioning. Why should the residents of Swabi vote for an outsider?
I think I know more people in Swabi than he does. I know more villages and areas in Swabi than he does. Because I keep coming to Swabi at least every month, once a month. He's come to Swabi after 32 years. Who gives him the right to call me an outsider? The one who's contesting against Amir Rahman, he is a Canadian citizen. Now, me belonging to Charsadda, I'm an outsider. A Canadian citizen being brought here to contest against Amir Rahman, he's a Swabi Wal. Now, that's for the people of Swabi to decide who is an outsider and who belongs to this area.
And can you, in fact, get into an alliance with the Pakistan People's Party?
You can't go in for an alliance until and unless you know where you stand and you know where the other party stands. Because a post-election alliance depends a hell of a lot on the electoral scenario that comes up. So you have to wait for that. You can't predict about any alliances, post-election alliances now.
Last question. Bachar Khan, a great man. Wali Khan, your father, a good man. How will Asfandyar Wali Khan be remembered?
The legacy of Bachar Khan is a very, very heavy burden. But people like Bachar Khan come in the lives of nations in centuries. Everyone cannot be a Bachar Khan. Otherwise, he would have been called by his own name and not as Bachar Khan. As you know, as long as I don't become another Shah Shuja in the history of the Pashtuns, I'll be more than satisfied. Ideals, yes. That is a promise to the people who struggled along with Bachar Khan, that I will, as long as I'm alive, I'll struggle for the ideals for which Bachar Khan struggled. And I hope to be remembered as a true soldier of Bachar Khan. As long as I'm remembered as a true soldier of Bachar Khan, period, that's enough for me.
Asfandyar Wali Khan, thank you for speaking to us on Dawn News.
Thank you.